And joining us right now to discuss some of these possible border change policies is Alan Orr, Immigration Chair of the National Bar Association, past president also of the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Alan, you and I know each other. We've talked a lot before. I know how you feel about reform, but this seems to be happening. So let's just engage on the substance here. CBS News phrased it like this, quote, "A new border authority to expel migrants without asylum screenings has been signed off on by the White House, apparently." What would that mean?
So that would be something similar to Title 42. However, both DHS and the immigration community don't stand behind this policy because they don't think it will be enforceable. We understand, and we know proof now that Title 42 is what led to the record apprehensions that we have now because a number of people are trying over and over again to enter the United States. So it's very difficult to craft. I think the most important thing to know is this holding the Senate is language.
Okay, whether it's going to, pass judicial muster beside the point, can you just tell me on the substance, what would that mean? People being turned around, they don't even see a judge? Is that what it means?
Exactly. It would be the equivalent of Title 42, people remaining in Mexico. I think it's important also to understand that all of these policies, remain in Mexico, returning people to Mexico, require international participation from Mexico.
Okay. If detainments, this is a second point in negotiation here, which again, the White House, with the president's tacit blessing, I believe, has been talking about, if detainments are heavily increased, would that include families again, like in the past?
I think pursuant to whatever laws we have with regards to youth, the issue is to detain people. But once again, locking up people is the biggest welfare system we might have, and we can't detain the number of people that we have at the border. We only have 45,000 beds available currently, and most of them are already exhausted. So the concept of detaining people is not an answer, but that is on the table to have mandatory detention for people who are seeking freedom and liberty from their home country.
Well, okay, but that could be an artificial ceiling, right? In theory, could they not commission certain military bases or something like that, outfit them in such a way that it is compliant with the law, that you could put more people in?
So I don't think so. If you basically study the detention centers that have happened recently, there have been just a lot of malfeasance by the private institutions as well as the government institutions. There is cases against sexual attention in Atlanta. There is healthcare issues. There are sanitary issues. There are also issues with regards to child endangerment in these facilities, as well as we know that COVID and the flu season is happening, as well as those type of diseases. So I don't really think that they're going to be able to meet the standards that are held to by GAO.
I don't want to overlook the politics here, because there's the law and then there's the people making the law, and that's the politicians. And nationally, there is a majority of voters who want stricter enforcement, including Hispanic voters. But on my way to work today, I was at a stop sign. Nobody freak out. I was at a stop sign and I snapped this picture right here. It warns Chuck Schumer against bargaining away asylum rules here in the U.S. Some Hispanic members of Congress, they're mad that they're not included in these negotiations. Of course, I mean, the people involved in the negotiations are the people who have the power of, committees this pertains to. But will Democrats be able to accept a deal given the politics?
So if it's anything from the immigration community, that won't happen. There was a big rally yesterday on the Hill at 1:30. Immigrant right groups took over the Senate building. At 3 o'clock, there was a rally from the Hispanic caucus. So the concept that we're going to control the amount of people coming to the country undocumented by limiting the way we allow people to come to the country documented is just a fiction that just should not exist. It didn't happen with alcohol. It didn't happen with cannabis. The answer is to make more legal pathways and to control those pathways rather than to try to restrict asylum. It is only just the bars. And the real test is, if we even change those asylum rules, are we still going to be able to contain what happens at the southern border? We also have a northern border. So the concept that we're going to actually fix this in a way that would be acceptable to the Republican Party just won't work, because Biden just doesn't have the administration or the manpower to control the border as is.
The numbers are so much smaller on the northern border. I mean, it happens, but in not nearly the numbers. It's not nearly as porous, and just the migration route isn't there. But could you explain what you think is not on the table? And I didn't get, what's the relation of asylum to cannabis?
So the concept of doing more restrictions, right? We had tons of restrictions against cannabis. We had tons of restrictions in the 60s against alcohol, and we were locking people up. Instead of locking people up, we then said, let's legalize these systems to make them work for us. So we legalize alcohol, we legalize cannabis. That's the relationship to asylum. Make more legal pathways rather than detaining people to make it work for the United States and the economy. I forgot your question specifically.
Anything, we only have 20 seconds. Anything that you know for sure is not on the table in these negotiations?
A complete end to asylum is not on the table in these negotiations. A reform of asylum is making it much harder, but a complete end of asylum is not on the table.
Okay, I feel like we made some ground here. You know, we made some headway here on actually what's going on, because you see these words on the page and wonder, what does that mean in real life? Immigration chair with the National Bar Association, Alan Orr, thanks.